안녕하십니까, 김경원입니다.
Hello, this is Dr. Kyoung-won Kim. In this hands-on lecture, we will compare 122 taper kit and 485 kit. Ostom surgical drilling kit comes in about 4 basic types. 123 straight kit is a kit that used mainly straight drills in the past. Then, the taper kit was developed since implants such as TS3 have tapered design and are more placed recently. 122 taper kit was more optimized for taper implants such as TS3. While 485 kit is designed to safely place short implants. 122 taper kit is an optimized kit for taper implants such as TS3, a taper drill type design that can obtain the most appropriate insertion torque. The 485 kit is designed to safely and easily place short implants, particularly under 8.5 mm. Implants around 7 mm and 8.5 mm are now considered standard, but the kit is specifically intended for implants shorter than 6 mm. If you take a look at the characteristics, when comparing 122 kit and 485 kit, a slight difference in the shape exists between the drill design and the drill tip. That is, 122 tapers drill tip. It has a sharp apical design to facilitate cutting with a Y dimension. Compared to that, the 485 drill tip has a round edge design. In fact, that design is similar to the cast drill tip that you might be familiar with. Because the drill design itself is different, if you perform drilling practice on the shell of a duck egg like this, you can see that the protein membrane is damaged and the liquid inside is exposed, like on the left, when you use a 122 taper drill. On the other hand, if you use a 485 drill, you can safely drill without damaging the sinus membrane or the underlying anatomical structures, and almost no damage to the protein membrane in the duck egg, as the bone lid of the inverted cone shape is formed by the drill tip, which its design is similar to the cast drill. Next is the length. I mentioned that 122 taper drill has a Y dimension at the bottom. For example, if you have a 5 mm diameter, the Y dimension will be about 1 mm. The 485 drill has no Y dimension with a flat shape, so you can actually control the drilling depth with a safer and more accurate length. Also, there is a tolerance of 1 mm in the part with the stopper at the top basically of the Ostom kit. When placing short implants, extra caution is taken to drill only up to the black laser marking to avoid anatomical structures like the inferior alveolar nerve. However, as with other drills, a clearance of about 1 mm is incorporated to prevent the stopper from catching on sloped areas of the alveolar bone. And then another difference in drill length is that, in the case of a 2.2 mm twist drill in a typical Ostom kit, if you include a 0.6 mm Y dimension at the bottom, it actually gets a lot longer than a drill length. Compared to that, in the case of the 2.2 mm twist drill in the 485 kit, the drill length is made 1 mm shorter. In other words, in the case of a 6 mm drill, you can see that the actual drill length is about 5 mm, which is 1 mm shorter for the purpose of making it shorter and safer than the previous drill. Then, if we use 485 kit, we have a pilot drill. After the 2.2 mm twist drill, before using the 485 drill of 4 mm, 4.5 mm, or 5.0 mm, since the diameter 3.5 mm is not provided, so we prepared a pilot drill as intermediate step drill. Actually, there are two types of drill lengths, 4 mm and 6 mm. Recently, there is a tendency to place implants considerably shorter than in the past, so 7 mm and 8.5 mm are considered regular implants. At a diameter of 5 mm or more, those with 6 mm or less implants are called short implants, and among the 6 mm implants, especially in the upper bevel part, the thread part of the drill is 4 mm and 5 mm, which makes it extra short implants. Therefore, during placement, the thread design allows the implant to slightly extend above the bone surface, with options for 4 mm and 5 mm implants. We will explore this further through a hands-on video demonstration. This hands-on video is designed to help you understand the difference between 122 taper drill and 485 drill. Let's meet through hands-on video.
안녕하십니까, 김경원입니다.
I believe that you watched our doctor's tip easy hands-on. Today, our aim is to show you more visibility about the extent to which the inferior alveolar nerve is damaged when 122 kit and 485 kit are used. I'm going to show you the degree of damage of inferior alveolar nerve painted in black for more visibility. First of all, there is currently 6 mm of residual alveolar bone in number 35. We will perform drilling using 122 kit. The residual alveolar bone in number 35 is not high, so we will simply do marking with lance drill. Then, I'll try a 6 mm drill on the 2.2 twist drill in the 122 kit. In fact, when using 122 kits, it usually goes up to stopper. So I will try to do a 6 mm drill like that. We will use a twist drill followed by a 3.5 mm, 6 mm 122 taper drill. Drilling has now been performed with the 3.5 mm, 6 mm 122 taper drill. You may notice that the yellow line, which was created to simulate the nerve below, shows some exposed wiring insulation, resembling a peeled-off state. Next, we will proceed with a 4.5 mm 6 mm 122 taper drill. You may observe that the insulation on the yellow wire, simulating the nerve, has been damaged. When 122 taper drill is used, it seems possible to predict the damage to the inferior alveolar nerve. Next, number 36 is 7 mm, so we will try drilling on that part as well. Likewise, I will do marking first with a lance drill. I will use only the marking and then use the 7 mm drill for the 2.2 twist drill. In the case of a 7 mm drill, the actual length of the drill is about 7.6 mm because the drill itself in stopper has 7 mm and the Y dimension is about 0.6 mm at the bottom. If you drill to the stopper, it will be about 8.6 mm. Here, I will perform drilling with a 7 mm drill. We have completed drilling up to the stopper. Next, we will proceed with the 3.5 mm by 7 mm drill. Following this, we will perform drilling up to 7 mm with the 5.0 mm diameter drill. If you look at the area number 36, the drill itself is wide in the case of a 7 mm drill 5.0 mm, so the black part of the cortical area of the inferior alveolar nerve is completely destroyed even from the side. So you can see that the nerve inside is damaged. This time, we will drill on the same area using 485 kit and check the relationship with the inferior alveolar nerve. Likewise, we will drill for the number 35 area by assuming 6 mm of residual alveolar bone. First, we will simply perform marking on site number 35 with a guide drill. Since the residual alveolar bone is only 6 mm, we will carefully perform only marking. And then 485 kit 6 mm drill. The 6 mm drill in 485 kit is a twist drill with a diameter of 2.2. In fact, the 2.2 twist drill in the 485 kit is 6 mm, unlike the 122 kit, but only 5 mm from the laser marking line, which is 1 mm below. If we combine the Y dimension of 0.6 mm, the drill length itself actually becomes 5.6 mm. So it's actually 1 mm shorter than the 2.2 twist drill in the 122 taper kit. In the case of using the 485 kit, since the nerve is close, we will drill only up to the black laser marking. For 8.5 kit, in the same case, if you use 485 drill after 2.2 twist drill, you will use the pilot drill because there is no Y dimension at the bottom, so you have to make the drill end wider like the cast drill. There are also two specifications for the pilot drill. We will drill first with a 6 mm pilot drill. Likewise, we will drill only up to the black laser marking for the pilot drill. We will drill with a 6 mm drill of 4.5 mm. Next, we will try 7 mm drilling on site number 36 in the back. First, we will use the guide drill, the lance drill, to make only a marking. We will mark the position in the area of tooth number 36. Then, we will proceed with the 7 mm drill from the 485 kit. As mentioned, the 7 mm drill allows for drilling up to 6 mm with the laser marking, considering the Y dimension of 0.6 mm, resulting in a total drilling depth of 6.6 mm. We have completed drilling up to 6 mm. Next, we will proceed with the pilot drill, which is a 6 mm pilot drill. We will proceed with the 6 mm pilot drill. And since we will be placing a 5.0 mm implant, we will use the 5.0 mm by 7 mm drill next. After performing the drilling with the 5.0 mm by 7 mm drill, let's examine the drill hole. When using the 122 taper drill, the upper part of the nerve canal, which was marked in black, was completely damaged, and the wires inside became visible. You may notice that the red and yellow wires have some insulation damage. However, in this case, the lower part of the nerve canal's edge is only slightly exposed with a hint of black visible. Now, let's proceed with implant placement. Here, we have prepared a 4.5 mm by 6 mm implant. The total length of the implant is 7 mm, as only the 7 mm implant is approved for manufacturing with a diameter of 4.5 mm. The threaded part at the bottom is formed up to 6 mm, and at the top, you can observe a bevel area about 1 mm in length. The engine speed will be adjusted, and we will proceed with implant placement in number 35. We will place the 6 mm implant using the engine up to a certain depth. Then finish with a hand wrench. Since it is a 6 mm implant, we will leave about 1 mm of the bevel area at the top. As you can see, primary stability is sufficient. Next, we will check the engine speed again and proceed with the placement of a 5.0 mm by 7 mm implant.
엔진 스피드 다시 한번 확인을 하고 식립을 하도록 하겠습니다.
Primary stability exceeds 30 Newton-centimeter. We have placed 2 implants using the 485 kit in number 35 and number 37, where the residual alveolar bone height is 6 mm and 7 mm, respectively. For number 45 and number 46, we estimated the residual alveolar bone height to be 4 mm for number 45 and 5 mm for number 46. We will also show you the drilling and placement of 4 mm and 5 mm extra short implants using the 485 kit. It's the area with 4 mm of residual bone of number 45. First, I will simply do marking using a guide drill. Then, since the residual bone is 4 mm, we will use a 4 mm drill for 2.2 twist drill. We will drill up to the black marking on the 4 mm drill. I will use 4 mm pilot drill. We will now proceed with drilling using the 5.0 mm by 4 mm drill. We drilled to laser marking, and then we'll drill to 5 mm of the residual bone in site number 46. First, let's make it simple to mark with an initial guide and drill. It's 46. We have drilled using the 2.2 twist drill with the 5 mm drill up to the black laser marking.
레이저 마킹까지 드릴링을 시행하였습니다.
Since the residual bone height is 5 mm, we will now use the 4 mm pilot drill for the next step. We will now use the 5.0 mm by 5 mm drill from the 485 kit. Drilling has been performed up to the black laser marking. From the side view, you can clearly observe that the edge of the inferior alveolar nerve has not been damaged. Let's take a moment to recheck the drill hole. As you can see, we are inspecting the drill holes in the areas number 45 and number 46. For number 45, there is a slight bone at the bottom, and you can just barely see the black color through it. For number 46, after drilling with the 5 mm drill, the black coating is completely intact. Since we created the model using 3D printing, you can see the grid structure, which allows us to observe the edge of the nerve below, but it is not damaged. This can be clearly confirmed with your own eyes. We will proceed with implant placement in number 45. The implant has a diameter of 5.0 mm and a length of 6 mm. Since there is a 2 mm bevel at the top, the effective thread length will be 4 mm. Therefore, the implant placed in the number 45 will be 5.0 mm by 6 mm implant with a 2 mm bevel, resulting in a 4 mm threaded portion. I need to check the speed of the engine outside the mouth. I will confirm the placement mode and place the implant. I will adjust the final depth with hand wrench. If you look at it now, it's been placed up to 4 mm. Initial stability is confirmed sufficient. The next one is the TS3 Ultra Wide, which is 5.0 in diameter and 6 mm in total length with 1 mm of bevel. With 5.0 mm by 5.0 mm implant, again check the placement mode outside the oral cavity and start placement. Diameter 5.0 mm and 5 mm length implant. As you can see, we are using a hand wrench to adjust the final depth. The initial stability is sufficient. As described above, drilling was performed using 485 kit on number 45, number 46, where the residual alveolar bone for number 45, number 46 was 4 mm, 5 mm respectively. We finished implant placement with extra short implants, 4 mm for number 45 and 5 mm for number 46. Currently, the implant is fully placed, and the inferior alveolar nerve canal is marked in black below the implant, clearly visible for observation. You can confirm that the inferior alveolar nerve canal remains undamaged, and the implant has been successfully placed. Using the 485 kit, we demonstrated how to optimally place implants safely and without damaging the mandibular canal, even when the nerve is very close. Thanks for watching.
시청해주셔서 감사합니다.